You checked Antonio Brown's Snapchat lately, Tom?
I heard about it. I was told not to look at it.
Oh, it's just a picture of Antonio Brown with his penis out.
Oh, baby. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Was that like a Transformers? Like
That's how I drive cars.
Welcome to another episode of the Grossi Perna Show. Tom Grossi, Brandon Perna, and this is GP.
Collars up, baby.
Yeah, you got the swag going on today.
I don't know. Jess got me this.
It's a very nice
warm
jacket.
I like it. I wore it in a video. Somebody's like, "Oh, look at the sixth member of the Backstreet Boys," and I was like, "Oh,
I like it. Looks good."
I think I
You
look
get
hot.
dressed up to go down to your basement.
It's cold down here. This is very insulating. We got a lot of snow. A lot of snow. Whoa, where are you going?
There's a dog at the door.
Oh, okay, I got this. Yeah, so Antonio Brown's penis.
I'm still here. I just had to get the dog.
Yeah, I forget Snapchat exists. Like I don't know anybody who uses it anymore, but I guess it's still there.
I used it for like a hot second, like back in the day, like years ago, and then I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I had like a streak going with one of my friends, and it was like going for like almost 100 days, and then I just forgot to send it one day, and I was like, oh, well, it's done now. And I just deleted the app.
All I care about is YouTube and Twitter and then Instagram. I like Instagram. Twitter and YouTube are like work, but it's all just football. Oh, sorry. Oh, man, I didn't even make the power rankings thing again. Boy, postseason hits, and I'm like, season's over for me as a Broncos fan. Dang it. I'm stupid.
I didn't put mine in there because I forgot.
Yeah, we didn't put it in. Okay, it's not just me. I did. So today we're going to talk about Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, their future, I guess. Their mysterious future. We'll recap what happened on Monday Night Football. There's a lot of, coaching, front office shakeups. I want to talk a little bit about the Lions. And Sean Payton, maybe. I don't know.
All right. Puppy's gone, so now I can steer.
Oh, yeah.
We can steer now. All right. Oh, God, please no.
It's the AB and OJ show.
OJAB.
OJ.
There you go.
Abjo.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, it's going to be a fun offseason. We don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. That has gotten full effect. Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and I listened to that entire thing, even when he was talking about humpback whales. And there was a good conversation about humpback whales. There was a lot. There was a lot going on in that conversation. But the biggest thing I would say to come out of it is it seems that there has been a tone shift from Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to do a video on this because I'm going to have to do a video on this. And basically Rodgers has been laying I don't want to say the foundation, but he's kind of been sprinkling things throughout post-game press conferences and has said, about him returning and when the Packers were doing really bad before they went on that win streak, what have you. He was being asked, are you going to come back? Are you going to be with the Packers? And he kept saying oh, it has to be both sides. It has to be both sides. And he kind of kept saying that over and over again. and kind of like, I don't want to say implying, but kind of implying that it wasn't a sure thing the Packers wanted him back, which they just gave him a massive contract in the offseason. They had like these great conversations that Goody and him had. They seemed that they were on the same page. And then at the end of the year press conference, right, like Rodgers kind of asked the same thing and he kind of reiterated like what he said earlier. And then when Goody was asked about it, he said, have you given Aaron Rodgers any indication that you wouldn't want him back? Sumo suit's already in the garage. And Goody's like, no, like you'd have to ask him if he like feels differently, but like that's not like we haven't done that. Now that could just be GM speak, like that could just be like the bottom line. LaFleur said absolutely they want him back, and obviously it's more complicated than that because his contract, and on top of that you have Jordan Love. There's a lot of complications there. But all that being said, Rodgers came out yesterday on Pat McAfee and kind of said again, both sides doesn't really know like where the organization is wanting to go, and kind of left the door open for him not finishing his career in Green Bay. And again, at the end of the day, we need to find out if he actually wants to play or not. And he's going to take time. And he can do that. He'll respect that 100%. But it kind of left the door open that maybe he doesn't. And I don't know if it's Rodgers just like trying to create an out and saying like, hey, because he didn't want to be part of a rebuild again, which is, he said that last year, and then he still signed that massive contract and said reloads are fun. But yeah, it's either the Packers aren't being truthful and they're telling Aaron Rodgers something different, or like they're indicating that they're going to move to Jordan Love, or it's Aaron Rodgers not being entirely transparent and saying, hey, like I'm kind of just looking for like, yeah, maybe it won't be with the Packers.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers likes to shroud himself with mystery.
And people are like,
Tom,
like,
loves that shit. He like, loves it.
What do you think he's going to do? And I got to be honest, folks, I don't care. Because I went through it last season. Yeah. And it's like, I still like Aaron Rodgers. I would still love for him to be the quarterback. But I just want to know. If he comes back, great. If he doesn't come back, great. I just want to have an idea of like, what are the Green Bay Packers going to look like in this upcoming season? Are they going to be rebuilding with Jordan Love and we're going to just see like, hey, it's analyzing talent, what have you? Cool. At least then I could be like, that's what I'm prepared for. Are we bringing Aaron Rodgers back and saying like, hey, like we're going to make another run at the Super Bowl again. Okay, how do we get there? I just want to know about the team, and I know about the players that are on the team. I have no interest in like this off the field drama. I'm sorry, I don't. I was over it last year, and they came back, and I was like, good, exhale, really happy he's back. I celebrated, and now I'm just like, we're doing this again. And it's not even like him making a decision if he wants to play or not. That's completely fine. Respect Rodgers for. Take your time, take a month and a half. I don't care. It's the, I don't know if they want me back, or, I want to go back to them and get tried. I'm like, I don't care about that. That I have zero interest in. It's just the unnecessary drama that just, no.
Yeah, it's, I think it just kind of happens to all great quarterbacks over time. They get so used to being like the best and getting basically whatever they want. And then they start to get old and they just get a little weird. Like Tom Brady's weird. Aaron Rodgers is weird. I'm sure if we had cameras in the faces of, everybody except John Elway, he was a straight shooter the whole time. Peyton Manning, also straight shooter. But those other guys get a little weird after a while. And here, like, Rodgers is probably looking at the Packers, who, they started to put something together at the end of the year. But like every team, that doesn't carry over to the next season necessarily. Yep. They've got holes to fill. And I think he's looking at the Tom Brady approach right now. And it's like, which team, if I wanted to come back, is there another team I could go to that would just be better instantly, like right away? And that way I can compete. I think they're just looking for upgrades.
So, but that's the thing, right? Like he has been let me rephrase. He was adamant last year of, I want to retire a Green Bay Packer. I want to finish out my career here. I want to do that. He was asked blatantly last year, are you going to finish out your career at the Packers? He goes, absolutely. Yes. After the big signing, what have you. And so now, again, if Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee, he was like, I just don't know, which he kind of did say, right? Like he just didn't know if he wants to play. He's like, I don't know. Cool. I'm okay with that. It's when we start getting cryptic and start going like,
all he had to say was, I don't know if I'm going to come back yet, but if I do, it will be with the Packers.
Done. But it's
That's what a normal person would have said.
But
Even if he wanted a trade.
But it was never say never. And I'm just like, oh my God, like that stupid phrase is going to create like 4 weeks of freaking drama that I just don't care about.
He's looking at the same teams Brady is, except for the Raiders. Well, there is Devontae Adams at the Raiders.
Devontae's there.
They both have part of their heart with the Raiders. You know, there's the Jets. And everybody keeps saying the 49ers, but if Brock Purdy keeps rocking and rolling, I don't think they'd be interested. But
I don't know why they'd be interested to begin with. But
no.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's just, like, and again, I have no problem with it.
Guess what? I got my quarterback, Russ Wilson. Ain't even part of this mess. In Russ, we trust. In Russ, we trust.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, like I don't care about the personal stuff. That's none of my business. It is what it is.
Go to the Cardinals for a year. They need a QB.
They need a lot more than a QB. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be. I'm not looking forward to another offseason of drama. And listen, we're not the only team going through it. Like the Bucks, if Brady, they're gonna be. There's so much dead cap,
I can still do it.
Left for them. There's that one. And then 2, like, even with the Ravens, like they have a quarterback. And again, it's so weird because Lamar Jackson will post things of like, water, like the grass grows where it's watered kind of thing. And then we'll like post an Instagram story of him in a jersey. And I'm like, you know what? I get it, Ravens fans, because I went through a whole offseason of eye emojis. I went through a whole offseason of cryptic stories. And I'm just like, I don't envy it, and I just don't want to do it again. Yeah, because I just don't. I don't want to be breaking down Instagram posts. I have no interest in it.
I'll say this: if Lamar Jackson is not a Raven after this season, then the whole quarterback position, just seems like it's going to be uncertain every offseason forever.
Yeah.
And it's gradually changed where teams would never move on from a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. We wouldn't even be talking about that as a possibility. A dude who won MVP, right? A guy who clearly this season was a great example of their offense not being the same without him in the lineup. But now I think there's people who will not be surprised at all if Lamar Jackson does not return to the Ravens. And I think part of it is teams believe they can win by investing in their roster with a cheap quarterback, a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks feel empowered to leave via free agency and force their hand if they don't feel like the organization they're playing for is doing everything it can to help them be in a position where they succeed. And also, it's just like social media gives you access to so much information. Even if there's not something going on, you can pull enough things out of the ether there to make it a story. And then there's teams like the 49ers who are winning with Brock Purdy and then have the 3rd overall pick sitting behind him. And we don't even know if they're going to move on with Trey Lance. After what the 49ers do after this season's a big mystery.
Dude,
this offseason is crazy because you do have Kyler Murray injured and don't know what the Cardinals are going to do. The Texans should have had the 1st overall pick, but they don't. So then you got the Bears at number 1 who have their quarterback. That can make things interesting.
Likely going to trade to the Colts.
Yeah. All this is to say that Tom Brady is old. So,
No, but honestly, this could. So last. Yeah, I don't think this is speaking out of turn. Last offseason was the craziest offseason I've ever covered. With the trades that occurred, with the signings that were there, they were insane, right? This season this offseason, I should say, has the potential to be even crazier. Because what is Tom Brady going to do? What is Aaron Rodgers going to do? What is Lamar Jackson going to do? What are all these other quarterbacks going to do? There's so many what ifs. It's going to be a wild time. I just hate the fact that my team is going to be involved in that wild time.
Yeah. Maybe Rodgers says, I'm going to come back to the Packers. You know what? $60 million, pretty good, actually.
He might.
I mean, how much money? I know, because Rodgers says like he's made a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to come back. But like, how much money do you have to have made to say no to $60 million? And if he retires, how does that affect the Packers cap?
So even if he retires, even if he gets traded, it's a $40 million cap hit. Because that's old money that's been restructured. And that's why, like with Tom Brady too, unless he comes back and they restructure again, he is going to it's going to be like a 30-something million dollar cap hit, I think.
Dang.
So yeah.
Duval.
I saw that. That was horrible. In the wrestling world. Really, really good wrestler. 38 died in a car accident yesterday.
Oh, damn.
It's horrible. Yeah, I got that news last night. So yeah. Not good. Oh Jesus. But yeah, so I don't know what they're gonna do. Like again, Tom Brady though. All right, Perna, I talked a lot about Aaron Rodgers. This is your time to shine because I know you've been waiting for this for so long. I know that you were watching that Monday night game with the biggest smile on your face because I called you. We were there.
You called me actually at the one point that I was taking a break from the game, but
yeah. Well, I am the subtle reminder that we can never escape.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So, Brandon Perna, take the floor and eloquently describe Tom Brady this past Monday night.
You know, it's a little disappointing because Tom Brady has sucked all season long. And I'm like, he's just not good all season long. So to see him play poorly in the playoffs was no surprise to me. I expected him to lose. Mm-hmm. Did I expect him to try and throw a ball away and have it picked? No, that was sweet. Did I expect him to be so ineffective and only be sacked 2 times? No. He played worse than I could have imagined. The problem is with Tom Brady, he can play bad. Like he can legit play bad. And people are still like, his team let him down. His team betrayed him. It's all his team's fault. His receivers aren't on the same page with him. Those receivers have been with him for 3 years. Okay. Sure. They aren't on the same page, every play. He also misses some throws. They drop some passes. The defense isn't as good as it was, but that offense, the Buccaneers offense this season, 18.4 points per game.
Crush it.
18.4. The Broncos had the worst, 16.9. But we're talking about what? Less than a 2-point difference per game. It was worse than the Commanders. It was worse than the Bears. So we all knew that they weren't a good team. What we didn't know is that the Cowboys would come out and play near perfect football. That is what was unpredictable. Yes. That's what we should be talking about. And to make that, like, Brady in a game where he played horrible had all of the pressure lifted off of him because he paid Brett Maher to miss 4 extra points in a row.
Oh my God.
You know Brady paid him to do that. He's like, look, man, I don't want to say this to anybody. My fucking shoulder's dead, dude. This thing is 45 years old. So if you could just go out and miss some extra points, I'll let you guys win.
And just every single drive, it's like, you gotta miss another one. He's like, dude, I've already missed 2. He's like, gotta miss another one. He's like,
another. Fine. No heat on me.
One more. And then he's like, gotta miss another. He's like, dude, 4? Like, now it's going to get suspicious. By the way, Nathaniel Hackett interviewing with the Jets for their OC position.
Well, good for Hackett.
I think he'll be fine as the OC.
I don't think so.
I just think maybe not the head coach part.
I think his play calling was kind of, I hope he does well. I am rooting for Nathaniel Hackett. But to go to it depends on who the Jets get at QB.
Correct.
Like, he ain't fixing Zach Wilson, man.
No.
If he couldn't make it work with Russ, you're getting a guy who is clearly understands the game less than Russell Wilson, okay? And Zach Wilson. So Wilson, he just got to get away from Wilsons. Nathaniel Hackett needs to get as far away as he can from any QB named Wilson.
It's valid.
He should go back to Green Bay, marinate there. What was I saying?
Talking about Tom Brady, but no, we're talking about the Cowboys playing like flawless football because that's the team that I was like, okay, they're the ones who could actually go out and win a Super Bowl because that's what we've been waiting for. How many times have you been saying it, Perna? Tony Pollard. Guess who was a feature back? Tony Pollard.
They still gave it to Zeke too much.
But that 1, 2, Dak, almost perfect, right? It was phenomenal. It was 4 touchdowns, really nice throws. They got it. Sinclair. They did that. And then their defense, Micah Parsons had 9 pressures. Like, they were getting after Brady all night. Yeah, no, they played really good, efficient football. Like, it wasn't like super duper flashy or like amazing, but it was just like really efficient, balanced, both sides of the ball, played incredibly well.
Yeah. Zeke Elliott, 13 carries, 27 yards, 2.1 average. Tony Pollard, 15, 77, 5.1 average. This would be the one thing that might get them bounced. I mean, there's a lot of things that get them bounced, but like, if they can't just realize the games that Tony Pollard has the hot hand, like, just get away from Zeke in those situations. If he's doing 2.7 per carry, I mean, they stuck with Marr. Like, say what you want about Mike McCarthy. He's loyal. Loyal to his players, maybe to a fault. But, you know, Zeke was not effective, and they gave him too many opportunities. That's a small thing to nitpick. I also saw that this is a funny, like, I forget. I don't know who's posted on Twitter, but the Cowboys were down to their last kicking ball because Brett Maher shanked so many that they were out in the stadium, right? So they only had one kicking ball left. And had he shanked that one, they would have had to borrow the ball from the Buccaneers for
That's
kicks.
kind of amazing.
Yeah. There was also some weird thing that their punter, the holder, he would use a blade of grass to get his sight line for the field goal attempts, and the refs told him he couldn't do that. That's illegal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saw that on Twitter too.
All right.
The NFL is weird. Do not be plucking grasses to get a sight line for kicks. That's cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Got to do it on turf.
Yeah. But here's my point. Okay. Tom Brady, if I'm going to be 100% honest, okay, he can still play quarterback in 2023.
I agree.
He can still be a decent quarterback.
I agree.
Okay. His arm is serviceable. He does not have the arm talent he had just 2 years ago. But Tom Brady cannot elevate a average team. Like the Bucs have an above average roster. Okay. They had everybody come back. They got a little beat up on the offensive line. He's got to go to a team that is stacked to succeed. And that's what he's going to want to do.
So I think it's, if you are a team, right? That's why, like, I understand the 41, like, you know, he's a fan and all that great stuff. But the 49ers are like one of the only teams that I can see. And I don't even think he goes to the 49ers, but like have that roster because you have superstars on both sides of the ball, right? Like they are a very well balanced team. And I think the consistency and experience of Brady could be like a plug and play, and they would do very well. But if you look at the Raiders, they're not amazing on defense, right? They're also like, we'll see what happens with, you know, running back re-signings and all that great stuff. But they have some free agents they need to take a look at. And they do have the weapons, but like, I don't think the Raiders are a perfect football team.
Oh, their defense.
Like that they just like are a quarterback away from being contenders. Like you could argue maybe maybe the Jets are like a watered down version of the 49ers. Like when they get like Breece Hall back, their defense is really good. But there's only so many places where he could go and he's going to be amazing. Like the Colts would be a horrible place for him to go. They don't have the O-line anymore.
If he goes to Indy.
Yeah,
please go to Indy, Tom.
Dude, he just wants to go to like replace Peyton Manning's legacy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, I don't think that he's going to do it. And then there's that rumor that Gronk apparently called up and was like, I'm bored after Thanksgiving, saying that he wanted to come back to the NFL. And I was like, that's funny. He said he wouldn't rule out playing next year. That's just something I saw this morning. But yeah, like, I don't think he goes to the 49ers. And the Raiders, I understand it's the Josh McDaniels connection. They do have some good teams there. But like the Vikings, if you said this like with Case Keenum years ago, yes. Now their defense is terrible. Like their defense is atrocious.
Yeah. And I think like having a sustained, truly dominant defense is one of the hardest things to do in the NFL.
Agreed.
Like you can still have like a good defense over time. And I think the Patriots are actually a very good example of that. But like the Niners defense, best defense in the league by season's end this year. For them, like the Niners to have the best defense in the NFL next year as well, that's unlikely.
Difficult.
That's very unlikely. Still could be a top 10 unit. You can still win a Super Bowl with it, but like that's hard to maintain. That's why you don't see teams like the Ravens going back-to-back Super Bowl wins with Trent Dilfer. I don't even know if he was on the team the following year. Or Brad Johnson, the 2015 Broncos. It's really hard to sustain. So even like predicting which defense will be dominant next season, like if that's what Brady's looking at.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Not a slam dunk.
I'm very aware. I thought we were going to have a great defense this year. Didn't work out.
So many injuries can happen, and
coordinators can coordinate or lack thereof.
Yeah,
man. Like, I don't know. It's
injuries.
I agree. He still can play football. He still can like go to a team and like be successful. I think it's just very specific what kind of team he can go for. So not to bring it back to Rodgers, but to that vein, he's on McAfee saying that like, he's like, I could play back at a high level. I can get back to an MVP level. Like he's like, I can do that. He said people in 2019 or like said I was washed and I wasn't as good. And then I won back-to-back MVPs. He's like, I can get back to that level. And I was just like, okay, like if I am choosing my poison between Brady and Rodgers, of like, let's just say they have an option, I'm bringing Aaron Rodgers on because I think it's a little bit more consistent.
I'd say
but I think also
7 years of time that might lead me to lean towards Rodgers.
But again, like he also kind of said that he wouldn't be traded to a team he didn't want to go to.
Right.
So
I guess
I think it's all conjecture. Like we have no idea. It's going to go down the rabbit hole. But yeah, Brady, man, like his is a weird one. Do you think he stops playing or do you think he is in the NFL this year?
I think he has no intention to retire. I think if he was, I don't want to use this as an example, but I would say his divorce is an indication that like he just wants to keep playing football for as long as he can. Like, and I don't mean that like as a cheap shot at him. I think
you're saying
that's
kind of
it.
Like, yeah, I got you.
I chose football over that. And I'm sure there's lots of, reasons that happened, but I think he's certainly done with the Buccaneers.
I think he's so done with
them. His press conference was like, I'm done here. Thank you guys. He's going to play somewhere else and he's going to have interest to play somewhere else. And he can play in 2023. I think this next season will be his last year. I think he'll come back. I think he won't be as good as he thinks he can be. And I think he's going to go to a place where he thinks he can win. And maybe if it's not the 49ers, I just don't think he's got a shot to get back in the Super Bowl. Like he has to be on the absolute best roster.
Yeah.
That's just where he's at.
You're not wrong. And like, but that's the thing too. Like that's why he's also tied with the Raiders because McDaniels, he also has to go to a coach that like he he has to go to a team that he can do whatever he wants. He can bring his guys in. He can like play the way that he wants to play, because that was the issue on their Super Bowl run, right? They started off and like that was the thing like with Arians, and it was kind of like they weren't on the same page and like they sucked to start that season. Then they came out of the bye and they won every single game. Yeah. So like he needs to be able to go to a place where he gets full control. I think he can do that in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like
or Miami. We forgot to mention the Dolphins, but like they have the offense that he could still succeed with. Because
correct. They don't have the defense though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their defense has played better lately, but yeah, that'd be a big question mark. And that division would be just insane. That would be the toughest division he's ever had to play in, which is funny because it was the division he played in his entire career. That division sucked. And as soon as it got good, he said, bye-bye. See you guys later. I'm going to Tampa Bay.
So, but that's the thing. But Tua, like you have Tua there. So, and
you have Tua.
They said all indicators were he was going to be their starting QB. But I mean, things change.
Things do change.
Yeah, like I don't get, like I understand the logic behind the 49ers, but I just don't think it's in the realm of possibility. I just don't think that's where he goes. I don't think the 49ers organization wants it. I don't like Tom Brady might want it all he wants, but I just don't think the 49ers, like, because Shanahan's not a guy to be like, oh yeah, let's bring in like this quarterback when we have two young guys, one that we gave up an arm and a leg for to go get, and also a guy who it was the last pick of the draft and is playing really well.
And obviously, Tom Brady can make any offense work, right? Is the thought. But
sure,
Shanahan's offense, you're seeing with Brock Purdy, works better when your QB can move. And it doesn't have to be this like elite mobile quarterback, but that's why they went up and got Trey Lance. Like, he's a complete opposite of Jimmy G. They made it work with Jimmy G, and then Jimmy G came in. Offense was good, but the offense got better once Brock Purdy came in. And we saw in that Seahawks game, him extending just a handful of plays made like all the difference for that game to eventually fall in the Niners' favor. And even his best play was that incompletion to Brandon Ayuk in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
Like Brady can't do that. And the guy who can still move a little bit is Aaron Rodgers. So if the Niners were like looking at one of those two quarterbacks,
but again, it doesn't make sense to me
if they were.
Yeah. Like, but just like the logic from the 49ers standpoint, it's like, why would you even bother?
No.
Because like, it's like, because they went all in already. Like, I think this might blow up in my face. If the 49ers lose and don't win the Super Bowl, I don't think it's going to be because of Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I think they have so many weapons. I think it's the secondary. I think it's the secondary that potentially is a problem. Like, that's why I'm really excited. And I don't want to say I hope, but like, I kind of hope it's the 49ers Eagles, like for the NFC Championship game, because the Eagles are a team. They have a good offensive line, or at least they're supposed to. And it's looked shaky at times, but a good offensive line. They have a good defense, and they could put up a ton of points. And that is like the one kryptonite of the 49ers, because you saw that in the Chiefs game, like way, way, way back when. So I'd be really excited to see that NFC Championship game.
Oh, yeah. The Niners and the Chiefs, to me, are very similar in terms of, and the difference is, like, the Niners' defense has actually been, like, dominant all season. But, like, in the playoffs, it's changed a little bit. But, like, their offense can score as many points as they want, basically, at will. And their defenses are opportunistic. They get their quarterbacks an extra, series or two, and you just can't compete with them. But we'll see how the Chiefs defense looks this weekend versus like the 49ers. Because that game, they did look, there's some big plays given up, but I think the Niners still have the best defense in the postseason right now.
They do. And I think, listen, if the Dallas Cowboys that showed up against the Buccaneers show up against the 49ers, it's going to be a battle. And I do think like they can take advantage of that secondary if the offensive line holds up against that pass rush, because they can get after their QB with just 4. And that's what makes them so good. And like, that's what makes the defense is really good. It makes your secondary better, what have you. If Dak doesn't have any time, it's going to be rough. So exactly. It doesn't make sense, but it could be a game. Scooter's in here saying that the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl because, of course. It makes sense. Can you imagine now that the year that he's right? Oh God.
What's that?
Scooter's in here saying the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, hey, he should be riding high today.
Watch we get the NFC Championship and it's the Cowboys Eagles for the third time, and finally no backup versus no backup QBs, and it's just there you go. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, go.
Dak was arguably the best QB. So it's Cowboys and Giants this weekend. Who the Cowboys?
Cowboys,
play?
49ers, and
49ers.
Eagles,
That's right.
Yeah.
They got the worst matchup possible after beating.
They're walking into a buzzsaw. Yep. Yeah, but I think they could do it.
The Cowboys defense is opportunistic enough, I think, to make Brock Purdy maybe make some mistakes, which he hasn't really done yet. So, it's their pass rush. And even though they only sacked Brady twice, like Micah Parsons had 9 pressures in that game.
Yeah.
It's the most Brady had been pressured in a single game, like in 5 years by one player. So, But the difference is the 49ers can run the football. The Bucks couldn't run it all season long.
They didn't even attempt.
No.
They didn't even try.
Yeah, let's throw it 66 times. Dude. Okay, Tampa. And that's why Byron Leftwich is on the hot seat, right?
But I love Leonard Fournette has playoff Lenny jersey, sweatshirt or whatever, and he got the ball 5 times.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was bad. The Buccaneers now, that's the thing too. Now you look at the Buccaneers when Tom Brady is 99% leaving. What the hell do they do?
Oh, they have such a long list of free agents that are about to hit.
They might be bad for a little bit.
Let me see if I can find their free agents.
Because again, we're talking about, let's go to the last time that Tom Brady was a free agent, right? I think that going to the Bucs, it was it was the best run defense in the league at the time. They had all the pieces that were there. They brought in a couple extra. They drafted Tristan Wirfs. They built the offensive line up. He brought in Gronk. And it was okay. Now let's go. And now it's it was plug and play. But now that's not the case anymore. And listen, you know what? You got a ring. Buccaneers fans are going to be happy about that, just like Rams fans. It sucks. You sucked this year and you sucked what have you, but you got your ring, and that's a lot better than what the Packers can say right now, because their version of all in didn't work, and now we're in kind of this is the window still open, is it closed, and let's kind of kick the can down the road, and we don't have a ring to show for it. So
yeah, I see their problem. The Bucs, they're old. They're just an old roster. They're free agents. Tom Brady, 45 years old. Julio Jones, 33.9, old for a receiver. Akeem Hicks, Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Rudolph, Levante David, who is 32.9 years old, Josh Wells, Logan Ryan, William Golston, Giovanni Bernard, Carl Nassib, Rashard Perryman. So Jamel Dean is on there. That would be a loss. Keanu Neal. Scotty Miller in there too. And Sean Murphy Bunting. So, they've got.
It's going to be a rebuild. And they're gonna get a big cap hit because of Brady, regardless, unless he comes back, which I don't think he's going to them. But he's South,
an unrestricted free agent.
What happened?
Oh, it's dead cap is 35 mil. Okay, yeah, I see that
for Brady. Yeah, so that's the thing. Unless he comes back and they do something, and they could kick it down the road. But the South is going to be interesting. I think the Panthers could win that division. But it's
they have the defense for Sean Payton right now.
They need the offense. They need the quarterback. That's it.
Yeah,
they'll be competitive.
Let's see, where do they pick?
Can you imagine Brady just goes to the Panthers? Really young defense. They did draft offensive line real high last year. He's just we'll go right there down the road.
Yeah. So what the Panthers are interviewing, is it Sean Payton today? I think.
I don't even know why they're bothering. Sean Payton's obviously going to go to the Texans.
Virtual interview? Yeah. Okay. You have virtually no chance to get him, Houston.
you think Sean
Oh
Payton
God,
wore
that's
pajama
that's
pants
gonna
while
bite
he
me
was
in the
doing it?
ass. Yeah, they get a quarterback there in Houston, which is why you'd want to go. But
That was a joke, by the way. He's not going there.
you never know. The nice thing about Houston, you can only make that team better if you're a head coach.
You're not wrong.
Right? Like they have really lowered the bar in terms of expectations.
It's
I
funny
think
too.
the Panthers have a legit shot in terms of Sean Payton wanting to coach there. But why on earth, if you're the Saints, would you grant them the rights to trade for him? Like trading who everybody believes is, the best coach right now available. Why would you trade him in the division? Would make no sense.
Yeah, no.
None.
But-
None.
Yeah. It wouldn't. I had a point and I forgot what it was. Oh, yeah. So when Rodgers was talking about that, he literally named the Texans. He was like, I don't know if there's any team that had come out there saying like, oh, we're rebuilding. Like, because like there'd be like no like GM, there'd be no owner that say that. He goes, except maybe the Texans.
They are rebuilt.
Yeah. They're gonna be there a little bit. And they have some pieces, like they got a running back, they got some pieces on like the defense a little bit. It's just they need a lot of work.
Yeah.
They need a lot of work. So but yeah, no, Brady, can you imagine Brady on the Texans just getting demolished?
Oh my God.
He would never go there, but
yeah. I would pay so much money.
I know you would. You'd be so happy. You just want him on the Raiders so your defense could destroy him twice a year.
I'd love, come to the
I know.
Raiders. I already don't like the Raiders, and if they had Brady, oh God.
My hatred would go through another level.
It'd make the Chiefs likable at that point. Be like, whoa, these Chiefs ain't so bad.
Well, speaking of your division, it looks like the Chargers are keeping Brandon Staley. They fired Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator. So you put in the rundown. That is a very coveted job because it's like, hey, you have a good amount of weapons and Justin Herbert. Try to make this offense good. It's going to be tough not to make it good, but Joe Lombardi was up for the challenge. So
yeah,
this has to be Brandon Staley's last year, though, if they don't perform. It has to be.
If you bring in a bona fide OC and they still struggle, then yes, he's definitely on the hot seat. I think it's the right call.
You're saying that on Monday.
Yeah, but and that's not just because I don't want the Chargers as competition for Sean Payton. I'm not even sure like Sean Payton is the answer for the Broncos. So, yes, Guillermo, if Brady was your quarterback, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even have to think about what I hate when I wake up. Like, oh, Raiders.
The Raiders exist and Tom Brady's our quarterback.
Yeah. One of the biggest winners so far, in my opinion, Detroit Lions getting Ben Johnson back as their offensive coordinator. I know he was interviewing for some head coaching spots. My gut said he would be back with Detroit because Dan Campbell has created an environment there that the coaches want to be a part of and the players want to be a part of. And I just think when you're doing that, you get your guys that want to stick around. Ben Johnson has done wonders with that offense. He's done almost as good of a job with Jared Goff as Sean McVay did, right? I think Goff might have played better this year. So that's one thing. And then I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw a tweet saying that some of the Lions players have approached the GM saying that they're willing to take a little bit less money to remain with the team.
Because they're an exciting team. Like like the Lions are a team that you're excited to be a part of their future, right? They have a really high draft pick. They can get a game changer again. And like you said, it's the culture. Like, I agree. Like, Dan Campbell has created one. Like, Jamal Williams has to be back. I think there's no way the Lions let him go anywhere. No, because it's just for the locker room alone. But obviously, his production was insane. So, no, I mean, like, you want to be on the Lions right now.
No, boo, not
Dan
Brady.
Campbell would destroy Tom Brady. So, there you go. Like, they're willing to do it. And it makes sense. Which, again, you thought you'd never say about the Lions. But I told people for a while they're going to be a problem. And guess who bounced us from playoff contention?
The Detroit Football Lions. Oh, boy.
Anyway. Anyways. So there's that. You put 4 smallest TV markets in the AFC divisional round.
Yeah, I just saw that. So you got the Chiefs, the Jaguars. Oh my God, who else is in the playoffs for the AFC?
Bengals and Bills, buddy.
The Bengals and the Bills. 4 small TV markets. The NFL can't love that.
But honestly, though, the Bengals-Bills game is going to break. Like, their Sunday is going to be amazing because it's that game, and then the Cowboys are a huge market, and they're Sunday Night Football. So, honestly, the brakes are now gone. The brakes do not work on the scooter anymore.
Ooh.
So, we got to get that fixed. Hello. We'll see. I mean, there is... I'm excited. We'll talk obviously more about the games on Friday and kind of break those down. But this is gonna be a good weekend of football. I think you can have a ton. There's a ton of upsets that can happen. I think the Giants could definitely upset the Eagles. I think the Jaguars are the most unlikely team to upset. But as we've talked about, who cares? You know what I mean? That's gonna be the mentality of hey, we made it this far. Let's just
they're playing with house money, which I think always makes a team dangerous. I mean, just Doug Peterson and Andy Reid trying to out-fox each other, that should be fun. It's going to be about the Jags defense, I think, keeping them in this game. The Chiefs are going to score points, but let's just say the Jags can keep the Chiefs from scoring 27 points before they score any.
Yeah.
They're going to be in a better situation than they were in that Chargers game. So, I think that game will be fun. I think the Chiefs will win that game, but I think the Jags will put up a fight. The other thing that was really funny is the Chargers were +5 in the turnover differential in that loss.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of got lost in the fact that they did not turn the ball over. They forced 5 turnovers, and usually, in one of those crazy comebacks, the team makes a mistake, right? It's a pick six, there's a fumble recovery, or even just a special teams return for a touchdown.
Nope.
The Chargers, no.
If they ran the ball 8 more times, they probably would have won.
Yeah. And that's exactly why when the Cowboys jumped out to that lead against Tampa Bay, I was like, oh, Tampa's not going to be able to come back from this because Tony Pollard and the Cowboys are continuing to eat clock and move the ball.
Yep.
You got to be able. That's the postseason, being able to run the football. One of those cliches. Part of that's when you get a lead is disrupting the other team from letting their offense get back out on the field. Mm-hmm. It's not just so you can rush for 180 yards and physically just destroy the other team. It's just that situational type football.
Oh, Chargers.
Go Chargers, go.
No, go Chargers. It's not. They did. Ow,
go get your OC.
I don't know, but wait, so you don't get Harbaugh because he's staying in because I haven't talked to you since then.
Yeah, he's going back to Michigan. Coward.
Staying in Michigan. He's being happy where the happy people are.
Football's hard in the NFL. I'm over the Harbaughs. I'll tell you that. Over those Harbaugh boys.
Took about a week. Not even.
3 days. Ugh, Harbaugh's.
Never wanted him to begin with.
Yeah, so the Broncos interviewed Sean Payton yesterday and Raheem Morris in LA, I believe. Very quiet, almost like no news out of the interview, which is weird.
Too quiet.
A little too wrath. Turtles. So now they're going to interview D'Amico Ryans and Dan Quinn. And honestly, like, if it's not Sean Payton, I want it to be D'Amico Ryans, I think. But Dan Quinn feels like the guy who's going to get the job if it's not Sean Payton, because they interviewed Dan Quinn last year.
Yeah.
It was him and Hackett were the two favorites. Like, are you going to interview him again and then not give him the job? Like, that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
But I like D'Amico Ryans.
So can I ask you a question, Brandon?
Yes.
So you're willing, because they said they wanted like a first round pick, right? The Saints.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like you'd be giving them what, like 32? Like you basically, like, you know, if
31 because if
yeah, 31 because the Dolphins.
It's, you know, it's
Yeah.
going to be late first rounder. We got to remember the Dolphins had their draft pick yanked for the Brady situation. So there's only 31 first round picks this year.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is great. Which is why Chase Claypool is now worth pick number 32.
Exactly. He's a first rounder.
Which is freaking
Steelers playing the game and winning.
Mm-hmm. You give up that kind of capital, which is a lot to give up. Now, you also didn't have a first rounder, you know, this year.
Yeah, we weren't prepared.
Sorry, is that kind of it? You're just kind of like, all right, we just go back to not having one, and we have a coach that could fix all our problems.
Yeah,
or at least
Sean Payton's worth it, I think.
Okay.
Obviously, like when it was between him and Harbaugh, the edge with Harbaugh, besides maybe being a little bit better fit, I think, for what the Broncos need, is you get him and you still have that late first rounder.
Yes.
But yes, I'm giving up a late first round pick for Sean Payton, who I would assume is going to be the coach for a very long time. Obviously, he abruptly left the Saints, so there's a little bit of a gamble there with Sean Payton. But a late first round draft pick for a really good head coach is worth it.
Well, I think you're also like, he's an offensive guy, right?
Yes.
So like that's where you need the fixing to happen. And I feel like if you are going to give up that kind of capital, which is funny because you gave up more for Russell Wilson, but like you're going to give up that kind of capital for Sean Payton, it's going to be like, hey, buddy, like it's your show. You run it. And if Russell Wilson ain't your guy after this season, then we're going to find your guy.
Yeah. Here's what's weird about Sean Payton, and the Panthers have already interviewed Vic Fangio. Okay. So Payton wants Vic Fangio as his defensive coordinator. If he comes to Denver, is Vic Fangio coming back? They bringing Vicky back? I don't know. There's a Ringer article today about D'Amico Ryans. And I think the quote, like the tag headline, was one of his former teammates said, "D'Amico Ryans, I would literally die for that guy."
Yeah.
So I don't know. He seems like the kind of coach that would come in and bring that Dan Campbell type energy, where I think players gravitate towards him, and other coaches would want to coach with him. That's why I'm high on D'Amico Ryans. But I don't know what the Broncos are going to do. I have no clue what's going to happen. None. Last year we kind of knew. It was like, oh, it's going to be Hackett or Quinn. This year it's like, oh, no clue.
Yeah. Real quick before we get out of here, can you just tell me, or do you remember what your power rankings are?
Yes. My power rankings were, let's see here. Jaguars at 8.
Yep.
Cowboys at 7.
Oh, okay. I got Giants at 7.
Giants at 6.
All right, so we swapped those.
Bills at 5.
Me too.
Bengals at 4.
Yep.
Eagles at 3.
Yep.
Niners at 2.
Oh, you put the Chiefs.
1.
You put Chiefs. Wait a minute. You didn't put the Chiefs at number 1 last week, but you put them number 1 this week?
This is exactly what I said, Tom. Honestly, the Chiefs shouldn't even have to play this postseason. We all know they're landing in the Super Bowl. This is a team with no flaws, no weaknesses,
Oh my
and the
God.
knowledge that they won't even have to travel to Buffalo under any circumstances.
The curse.
Travis Kelce's 99 yards away from having more postseason receiving yards than any tight end in NFL history. He is better than Gronk. Andy Reid is a better coach than Doug Peterson. And while Doug will be playing chess, Andy will be bringing a fucking gun to the chess match to shoot him down. The only chance the Jags have in this game is if Patrick Mahomes decides to try and throw every pass with his left hand. And even then, I still kind of like his chances. Kansas City's also the healthiest team right now. They literally have only 4 players on IR. After I wrote that, they put Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his window to return. So just basically 3 players on IR, with the only notable player not practicing this week, Mecole Hardman. And they're so what? So what? He's a little dinged up. Their offense is fine. Very impressed with the Chiefs. I really don't know if I've ever seen a better or healthier team in the playoffs. So that's why they're number 1.
Mecole Hardman.
Mecole. Yes, it is
Mecole.
Mecole.
Okay. All right. Well, we just have those 2 switches then.
Yeah.
And
They might be the healthiest team in the, playoffs ever.
I mentioned that, because they were saying that there was just Mecole Hardman who was like on, who didn't practice. Yeah, no, they're healthy, getting healthy at the right time.
Like, how many players did the Packers have on IR?
18.
It was more than 4 this season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Like,
so
I don't know how you do that. As I watched the most injured team this year just lose guys play after play. It's crazy. I want whatever their training and medical staff is. I want Walmart to buy that for my team.
You need Andy Reid.
I need Andy Reid. Oh my God. He is the best coach in the league.
Perna literally just wants them to get cursed so badly. If they lose to the Jaguars, that would be the happiest I think I'll see you. I mean, like, you were happy about Brady, but like he could still come back, so like he's not done yet. But if the Chiefs lose to the Jaguars, I feel like you're gonna be full blown celebrating. Yeah.
No, I would not celebrate for the best team in football losing. Who wants to see that? Who wants to see the best team in the NFL lose? To me, the Super Bowl is about the 2 best teams going at it. And if the Chiefs aren't in it, I'm going to be disappointed, Tom. I'm going to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Who do you want to win the
is even if Tom Brady retires, I'm still not going to be happy. Because
Plus he can come back.
Wait for him to unretire at that point.
Skillet cookie.
Yeah. That tweet was hilarious.
I found it from a year ago.
Yeah.
Dude, and then they stopped serving it. I got it one more time, and then they stopped serving it. Oh, management knows me. They're like, would you like any dessert? I'm like, got the skillet cookie yet? They're like, no. Everyone keeps asking. I'm like, where's the skillet cookie?
Where's my friggin' skillet cookie?
I'm just glad we can't get a Vikings-Chiefs Super Bowl. Because, like, now with the NFC, I don't really care. Like, I don't want the 49ers to win. I don't want the Cowboys to win. Giants have hurt me in the past. So I'm like, you know what? If, like, the Eagles go, like, it'll be a fun Super Bowl, whoever they face off against. So the AFC, though, I'm fine with any of those teams going to the Super Bowl. I have preferences, like the Chiefs are at the bottom just because I've seen them there before. But, yeah, no, I'm fine with either of them.
Yeah, what's the weirdest matchup at this point? Jags?
Jaguars, Giants.
Yeah, that would be odd.
That'd be something. So, yeah, we'll see. It might be in the 90s. It might be, we might get a little we'll get in the 49ers, Cowboys. Might get Cowboys, Bills. Might get one of those. So, we shall see. But one, Brandon Perna, what do you got coming out today, bud?
We got a Brock Purdy episode dropping.
Purdy.
Johnny Barks finishing that up. Will Keys did the meat of the words. I just added some dumb jokes. Zest, if you will.
There you go.
Well, we had it written like 2 weeks ago. I was like, well, let's just update after the wild card. But yeah, who's Brock Purdy? Can they keep winning? Should he be considered for Offensive Rookie of the Year? Stay tuned to find out.
Okay.
Tom, what do you have?
I got a Buccaneers fan reaction to the season
Wow.
dropping today, and we got predictions dropping today too. And then tomorrow I'm going to have to do this Aaron Rodgers video.
Ooh.
I want to do Rodgers today, but I was like, I'll do the Bucs one.
Yeah. Did he give like a hint at a timeline? Nope. It's nice like doing this show because previously I probably would have went and watched that Rodgers interview. I was like, nah, I'll just wait to see what Tom says about it.
Yeah.
I'll get the
Don't worry, I did it for you.
Yeah.
Talked a lot about humpback whales.
They are a beautiful
It was a
creature.
long conversation too. They talked for a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but folks, we appreciate you tuning out. We will be back here tuning in. We'll be back here on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, where we will preview all of the upcoming playoff matchups. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna, and this is GPS. And you have been navigated.
You've reached your distance.
He's trying to talk like Kermit, but he's not getting